It is the World Blitz Chess Championship 2022. The tournament is about to begin at 3 p.m. The stopwatch on the giant display board is down to the second and reaches 0, but someone very important has not arrived, and it's no other than Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen, the man with the lightning-fast moves and the strategic mind of a world champion, is like a superhero in the world of chess, able to defeat his opponents with remarkable ease. With multiple world championships and a peak rating of 2882, Magnus is widely regarded as the best chess player in the world, while his opponent, the Belarusian Grandmaster Vladislav Kovalev, whose rating is 2556, showed great sportsmanship and waited for Magnus to appear. The arbiters forced the game to start without Carlsen. So Kovalev played his first move, moving his pawn to e4. Magnus' time kept dwindling down, and it seemed like he might forfeit the game altogether. However, in a dramatic turn of events, Magnus finally showed up with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Will Magnus be able to turn this around? Carlsen chose the French defense by moving his pawn to e6, which is actually a wise choice, as the French defense normally leads to slow and less complicated positions that require less time in the calculations, and in this case, it is useful for Carlsen. Kovalev replied with d4, heading for the center. Magnus then played d5, sharing the center with his opponent. And after trading pawns in the center, we reached a simple variation in the French defense, which is the exchange variation. The Belarusian Grandmaster developed his knight to f3, which the world champion replied to by developing his bishop to d6. Kovalev attacks the center with c4. Carlsen moved his knight to f6, protecting the d5 pawn. Kovalev thought for a while, then he played his knight to c3, attacking the d5 pawn again. Carlsen castled. Kovalev spent an additional minute before capturing the pawn on d5, fully aware that choosing accurate moves against a world champion is a daunting task. However, taking that much time in the opening, especially for a strong grandmaster like Kovalev, could be seen as a sign of ultimate sportsmanship by the Belarusian. By allowing his clock to tick down, Kovalev made the game more even, giving Magnus a fairer chance to compete. This display of sportsmanship adds another layer of excitement to an already intense game. Carlsen played his rook to e8, giving a check. Kovalev blocked the check by putting his bishop on e2, but this bishop is now pinned. Carlsen kept developing his pieces by getting his knight out from the d7 square, and right after playing this move, he spent a couple more seconds adjusting his pieces, showing extreme confidence. Kovalev castled. Carlsen played his pawn to h6, preventing the development of Kovalev's bishop through the g5 square. Kovalev brought his rook to the e1 square. Carlsen then replied by moving his knight to b6, opening up the way to his bishop. Kovalev occupied the center with the move knight e5. Carlsen took back his pawn, leaving Kovalev with an isolated pawn on d4. Kovalev played a good move bishop f3, beginning the bishop and opening the e-file for his rook as well. It is now where the battle really begins. Carlsen played his pawn to c6. Kovalev developed his queen to b3, and now surprisingly both players are nearly equal in time, less than 30 seconds remaining for both of them. Carlsen confronted Kovalev's queen, and after some exchanges, Kovalev settled to go to the endgame stage, hoping for a simpler and easier position. But Carlsen is arguably considered one of the best players ever in the endgame, so it will not be an easy task at all for the Belarusian. Now we reach this interesting position in the battle, where Carlsen had two bad doubled pawns on b7 and b6, in return for the bishop pair advantage and an open a-file that will help his rook to get directly into business. White developed his bishop to d2, where Carlsen attacks the knight with f6. Kovalev retreats with knight e3, and after rook exchanges, Carlsen engaged the other rook into business by playing rook a4. Kovalev protected the pawn. Carlsen attacked the knight on d3, putting too much pressure on Kovalev that his time is now below 4 seconds. Kovalev ran with his knight to e1, and we can easily spot the difference in activity between the forces of both armies. Carlsen played king to f7, engaging the remaining weapon into the battle, and after some moves, Carlsen pinned the bishop again. Kovalev played his rook to d1 to get his bishop free, and after some moves and exchanges, the material is now balanced. But Carlsen has a slightly better position because of his more active pieces. Now the battle was extremely on fire, with both players in time trouble. Carlsen kept pressing, while Kovalev showed an extremely good defending skill. Carlsen then played his rook to a4, threatening to conquer White's camp through the first rank, and after some moves, Kovalev offered exchanging rooks by playing his rook to d1. but Carlsen refused the offer and escaped with his rook to a2. Kovalev played his rook to d2 to protect the pawn. The game now reached the peak thrill, with both players only having seconds left on the clock. The fight kept on going until the critical moment of the game, where Magnus played his rook to e8, attacking Kovalev's knight. Now the Belarusian Grand Master had to choose between two options, which are trading the knight to the bishop or escaping with the knight to f5, but regarding the time pressure, he chose the wrong option by exchanging pieces. Now Carlsen has a much better pawn structure and an active king, meaning the game is nearly over. And after a couple of moves of Magnus using his incredible in-game skills and technique, he captured one pawn after another, then white finally resigned, and both players shook hands, bringing an end to the very thrilling incident in the Blitz chess world.